bright and sunny morning here at the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport, and the excitement is building up. Ayubowan, good morning to each and every one of you who can hear us. And well, very shortly we'll be seeing UL 4003, Sri Lankan Airlines UL 4003 touching down at the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport. That flight will be carrying a group of very special people, and indeed a world-class airline joining a world-class alliance, and that's the Oneworld Alliance. And the latest addition to the Oneworld Alliance is our pride. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for has dawned, and we can see the SriLankan Airlines UL 4003 making its touchdown at the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport. And this is a very significant flight. And why? It is because this flight, this aircraft, carries a group of very special people. And very soon we'll be getting to see who they are. And in fact, ladies and gentlemen, that aircraft, the UL 4003, is carrying a group of very special people, the Oneworld delegates, whom we'll be very warmly welcoming. A red carpet welcome is in store for them, and we're just a few moments away from that very spectacular moment of welcoming to Sri Lanka, and 240 kilometers deep down south from Colombo, welcoming them to the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we can see, as all of us can see, we can see the doors of UL 4003, the Airbus 340, open. And we would like to wish all those very special people aboard the UL 4003, Ayubowan, welcome to Sri Lanka. And you are approximately 240 kilometers deep down south from Colombo in this beautiful island of Sri Lanka. Ayubowan, a warm welcome, and we have the very important Oneworld delegates present aboard the UL 4003, and also we understand that we have the presence of the Honorable Sarath Amurugama, Senior Minister, and also the Deputy Minister of Finance. We also understand that we have in the delegation Member of Parliament and the Chairman of the Tharunat Hedak Organization, Attorney at Law, the Honorable Mattala Rajapaksa as well. So, very specially to the Oneworld delegates, we'd like to extend a very warm welcome, and it is indeed very encouraging, and we are really honored as Sri Lankan Airlines, as the people of Sri Lanka. We are really honored by your presence, and now they'll be conducted to the refreshment area, and soon after refreshments, we'll be having the rest of the formalities taking place.
Good morning, everybody. If I can ask all of our guests, please, to take their seats so we can get the show on the road. So please take your seats. And Ayubowan, and welcome to you all, and thanks for joining us on this great day for SriLankan Airlines and for the Oneworld Alliance. And to those joining by webcast, welcome. Greetings from South Asia's newest international airport, Hambantot's Mattala Rajapaksa, here in beautiful and warm Sri Lanka. We start today with brief introductions in Sinhala by Sri Lankan's Director Promotions Manoj Gunawardena, and in Tamil by Chief Marketing Officer GT Jayseelan. Manoj.
Honourable Minister, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of SriLankan Airlines, a very special welcome to all our guests today, particularly our guests from overseas. And let me first start by greeting you in typical Sri Lankan traditional fashion by saying Ayubowan, may you live long and prosper. I would like to take a minute of your time for a very short brief introduction to our Sri Lankan media in Sinhala now. මාධ්‍යවේදී සහෘදයනි, අප ජාතික ගුවන් සේවය Oneworld ගෝලීය සන්ධානය සමග පූර්ණ සමාජිකත්වයට අවතීර්ණ වන මේ අභිමානවත් අවස්ථාවට සහභාගී වන ඔබ සැම ඉතා සාදරයෙන් අපි පිළිගන්නෙමු. Oneworld ගෝලීය සන්ධානයක සමග එක්වීම ශ්‍රී ලංකා ගුවන් සමාගමේද මුළු මහත් ශ්‍රී ලංකා ගුවන් සේවා ක්ෂේත්‍රයේද අභිවෘද්ධිය සඳහා නවමං පෙතක් විවර කරන අවස්ථාවක් බව අපි දන්නෙමු. එවන් වැදගත් දිනයක් සැමරීමට පැවැත්වුණු මේ සමාරම්භක අවස්ථා උත්සවය අප ගුවන් සේවයේ ඉතිහාසයේ වැදගත් දිනක් ලෙස සනිහටුවන් වන බව නොඅනුමානයි. අද මේ හමුව Oneworld ප්‍රමිතීන්ට අනුකූලව ඉංග්‍රීසි බසින් පැවැත්වුවත් සියලු මාධ්‍ය ප්‍රකාශන සහ දත්ත සිංහල සහ දමිළ බසින් ඔබ සැමට ලබා දීමට අප කටයුතු සලස්වා ඇත. එලෙසම අද දිනය තුලදීම සමුළුවේ ඉදිරිපත් වූ කරුණු පිළිබඳව පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් හෝ යම්කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයකට පිළිතුරු සැපීමට සිංහල භාෂෙන් අප සභාපතිතුමා නිශාන්ත වික්‍රමතුංග මහත්මයාත් ප්‍රධාන විධායක නිලධාරී කපිල චන්ද්‍රසේන මහත්මයාත් දමිළ භාෂෙන් ඒ කාර්යය ඉටු කිරීමට ප්‍රධාන වාණිජ නිලධාරී ජීටි ජයසීලන් මහත්මයාත් අද මේ කාර්යයට කැප වී සිටින බවට ඔබට ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා. අදවන් ගුවන් ක්ෂේත්‍රයේ සහ ගුවන් සමාගමේ ඉතිහාසගත වන දිනක මේ සුබ පණිවිඩය ශ්‍රී ලාංකික මාධ්‍ය හරහා සියලුම ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන්ට දැනුවත් කිරීම අපගේ යුතුයකම බව අපි වටහාගෙන තිබේ. ඒ කාර්යයට ඔබ මාධ්‍ය සහෘදයන් සියල්ලන්ගේම පූර්ණ සහයෝගය අද අපි අපේක්ෂා කරමු. ඔබ සැමට ස්තුතියි.
ஐபோவான் வணக்கம். இலங்கை விமானத்துறையின் சரித்திரத்திலே முக்கியமாக ஸ்ரீலங்கன் விமான சேவையின் சரித்திரத்திலே ஒரு முக்கியமான ஒரு நாளில் நாங்கள் உங்களை சந்திப்பதில் மிகவும் மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகின்றோம். கௌரவ அமைச்சர் அவர்களே, முக்கிய விருந்தினர்களே, மற்றைய ஊடகங்கள் பத்திரிகைகளின் சார்பாக இங்கு வருகை தந்திருக்கும் நண்பர்களே, எமது அழைப்பை ஏற்று இந்த முக்கிய நன்னாளில் இங்கு வருகை தந்ததற்கு உமக்கு நன்றியையும் எமது மகிழ்ச்சியையும் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றோம். ஏறக்குறைய 18 மாதங்களாக எமது ஊழியர்களின் கடின உழைப்பாலும் ஒன்வேர்ல்ட் கூட்டமைப்பின் முகாமைத்துவ உத்தியோகத்தர்களின் அரவணைப்பினாலும் நாம் ஒன்வேர்ல்ட் கூட்டமைப்பில் சேருவதற்கு அனுசரணை தந்து வழிகாட்டியாக விளங்கிய கதே பசிபிக் விமான சேவையின் உதவியினாலும் இந்த ஒரு சரித்திர முக்கியம் வாய்ந்த மைலை SriLankan Airlines விமான சேவை இன்று அடைந்துள்ளது. இன்றைய நன்னாளில் உங்களுடைய கேள்விகளுக்கு தமிழில் கேள்வி கேட்க விரும்பினால் நீங்கள் கேட்கலாம், அவற்றை மொழிபெயர்ப்பதின் மூலம் எமது விமான சேவையின் தலைவர் திரு நிஷாந்த விக்ரமசிங்க அவர்களும் பிரதம நிர்வாக அதிகாரி திரு கபில சந்திரசேன அவர்களும் இங்கே வருகை தந்துள்ளார்கள். அந்த வகையிலே நீங்கள் எந்த கேள்விகளை கேட்டாலும் இந்த ஒன்வேர்ல்ட் சம்பந்தமான கேள்விகளுக்கு பதிலளிக்க நாங்கள் காத்திருக்கின்றோம். நாங்கள் மொழிபெயர்ப்பின் மூலம் கேள்விகளை மொழிபெயர்த்து அதன் மூலம் கிடைக்கின்ற பதில்களையும் மொழிபெயர்த்து உதவுவோம். திரும்பவும் இங்கு வந்துள்ள விருந்தினர்கள் அனைவரையும் வரவேற்பதுடன் நன்றி அறிவித்தலையும் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றோம். வணக்கம். நன்றி.
So, thank you, Seelan. Thank you, Manoj. And for those who don't know me, my name is Michael Blunt. I'm Oneworld's Vice President of Corporate Communications, and it's my pleasure to be hosting our proceedings here today, back in the country where I lived for several years as a boy, long before my hair started turning grey, and where my wife was born and raised. So it feels like a second home in many ways here. So now please sit back, fasten your seatbelts, and enjoy this morning's journey with us. Oneworld member airlines are rightly famous for the quality of their customer service, and that service is, of course, delivered by their frontline employees. So please welcome representatives from each of those airlines today, starting with Air Berlin and American Airlines, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, Finnair, Iberia, Japan Airlines, LAN Airlines, TAM Airlines, Malaysia Airlines, Qantas, Qatar Airways, Royal Jordanian, S7 Airlines of Russia, and of course, from today, SriLankan Airlines. Thank you, ladies. Now, without further ado, in the best spirit of Sri Lankan hospitality, please give a warm welcome to our top table delegates. And we start with Air Berlin, Jörg Schwingler, who is Vice President, Alliance Development. And flying in from Dallas, Texas, from American Airlines, we have Senior Vice President, Alliances and Partnerships, Kurt Stachy. From British Airways in London, we have Director of Strategy and Business Units, Lynn Embleton. Representing Finnair, we have its Regional Manager for South Asia, Desmond Chacko. From IAG, International Airlines Group, which is the parent company of British Airways and Iberia, we have Strategy Director Robert Boyle. And then from Iberia itself, we have its Oneworld Director, Fernando Varela. Representing Japan Airlines, we have its Executive Officer for International Relations and Alliances, Hideki Oshima. Now, on our center table, please welcome Oneworld CEO from New York, Bruce Ashby. And a familiar face to most of you living here, Chairman of SriLankan Airlines, Nishantha Wickramasinghe. And completing our top table, representing the sponsor airline of Sri Lanka into Oneworld, Cathay Pacific, its Chief Operating Officer, Rupert Hogg. And next to Rupert, just on the next table, we have the CEO of SriLankan Airlines, Kapila Chandrasena. And next to Kapila from Malaysia Airlines, we have Commercial Director Hugh Dunlevy. From the LATAM Airlines Group in South America, please welcome Managing Director Asia Pacific, Patricio Aylwin, who is representing both LAN and TAM. And flying the flag for Australia's Qantas is its Regional General Manager for South Asia, Middle East and Africa, Rohan Garnett. With us from Qatar Airways is its Chief Planning Officer, Richard Roberts. And from its Middle Eastern neighbor, Royal Jordanian, is Vice President Alliances and Network, Basma Majali. And finally, representing Russia's S7 Airlines from Moscow, please welcome its Deputy Chief Executive, Vadim Besperstov. So, ladies and gentlemen, the lead delegates of our Oneworld member airlines. Thank you. Thank you. So we invite our uniform representatives to lead the stage by the center, please. So while everyone is making their way to their new positions, let me continue. And before I hand over to our main speakers today, let me briefly outline the rest of the proceedings for this afternoon, the batting order, if you like. As airline alliances are making their debut in the Indian subcontinent, Oneworld CEO Bruce Ashby will start today giving some background on the role that alliances play in today's industry and what Oneworld will do for Sri Lanka, for SriLankan Airlines and its customers. He'll then hand over to Cathay Pacific's Rupert Hogg, who will formally welcome Sri Lankan into Oneworld, and will then hear from Sri Lankan's chairman, Mr. Wickramasinghe. And at that stage, we will conduct a signing ceremony to mark officially Sri Lankan's entry into Oneworld. So please have your cameras ready. We'll follow that with a traditional media Q&A session. And finally, before lunch, we will ask you to reconvene here to hear from some senior guests who are joining us. And then it is time for lunch. And if I can welcome our senior guests here, we're very pleased to welcome the Senior Minister for International Monetary Cooperation and the Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Sarath Amunugama. Sir, welcome to you. And also the MP for this region of the country, Mattala Rajapaksa. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. So that's the plan. Without any further ado, Bruce, over to you.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, everyone, for joining us on this day of celebration as Oneworld welcomes SriLankan Airlines on board the world's fastest growing and most highly rated global alliance. And Nishantha, Kapila, and to you and all of your colleagues, it's great to have you on board. More about that in a minute. First, I want to say how good it is to have Hugh Dunlevy and his colleagues from Malaysia Airlines here with us today. As they know, the hearts and prayers of all of us in the Oneworld family have been with our Malaysia Airlines colleagues these past 7 weeks, and with all affected by the MH370 tragedy. We wish them Godspeed. And meanwhile, we remain ready to help in any way we can. Now, back to the reason we're here today. Oneworld has always striven to be the first choice global alliance for frequent international travelers by attracting the world's best airlines. It's a proud moment for Oneworld to add SriLankan Airlines, and in fact to be the first alliance globally to add an airline from the Indian subcontinent. As such, we thought it would make sense today to begin with a brief overview of why alliances are such a key element of virtually every full-service airline strategy today, and what Oneworld offers to our customers and to our member airlines. Now, global alliances first appeared in the late 1990s. More than 50 airlines are now members, and alliance members include all but a handful of the world's largest airlines. As we see it, there are three key factors that have made global alliances, like Oneworld, so attractive to airlines and their customers. A network scope, what we offer the customers, and linked to that, the incentive we provide to make them want to fly with our airlines in preference to others. So from the point of view of our customers, there are really two components of benefit. A network scope that conveniently connects the world, going far beyond the reach of any individual airline member. And coupled with that, a customer proposition that promises when you fly with any one of our members, you receive benefits. Now, for our member airlines, the benefit is incremental revenue, and that comes from the network scope and customer proposition, which working together provide an incentive for premium travelers to fly with airlines within the alliance, including from midnight tonight, Sri Lankan. With Sri Lankan on board, Oneworld brings together 15 strong airline brands, more than 30 affiliated airlines, providing services, benefits, and value that no individual member airline can deliver on its own. Now, this in turn makes all of them more competitive and more attractive to customers. It includes access to a truly globe-spanning network with customer benefits and rewards, high standards of quality and service, and innovative customer service. Our customer proposition really comes into its own when customers travel beyond the network of their home airline. As part of the alliance, Oneworld's customers travel smoothly throughout a truly global network on trusted airline partners who recognize their status with their home airline and provide enhanced benefits, such as frequent flyer rewards, lounge access, and customer support. In essence, it means that members of Sri Lankan's Fly Smiles loyalty program have the privileges and benefits extend from midnight tonight to whenever they fly on any Oneworld member airline. And to mark Sri Lankan's entry day, we're launching a special promotion to make it even more rewarding for frequent flyers to fly on our new recruit, and for its Fly Smiles members to try out the new Oneworld partners. Full details on that are in your press packs. Now, combined with our members' commitment to meticulous safety and quality standards, the result is a quality experience wherever you may travel. There are a number of ways of measuring quality. In terms of industry awards, Oneworld currently holds an unprecedented 8 of the 10 leading international Best Alliance titles. Now, turning to network scope, there are thousands of airports in the world, but some are clearly more important to those frequent international travelers that are our prime target market. 1/3 of the global airline industry's total passenger revenue comes from travel among, that is, originating and terminating in, only the top 100 business cities, which, by the way, includes Colombo. And out of those revenues, more than 80% is carried by members of the 3 global airline alliances. We believe that single statistic is a very powerful rejoinder to the naysayers who suggest that the role or relevance of global alliances in today's airline industry is shrinking. Now Sri Lankan will gain greater access to that prime slice of the pie. Oneworld's airlines are major competitors for top 100 city passenger revenues. Oneworld's share of revenue among the top 100 cities is 26%. Although that makes us the number 2 alliance in revenue share, those numbers are now so close that we are actually only one large new member away from the top spot. Let's look for a minute at what Oneworld's network scope means to Sri Lankan and what its addition to the alliance means to us. Sri Lankan itself today flies to 32 destinations in 20 countries. By connecting that network to those of its Oneworld partners, for midnight tonight, it will expand its reach to almost 1,000 destinations in more than 150 countries. This will make it easier and more rewarding for Sri Lankans customers to reach pretty well anywhere in the world that they need to travel, flying all the way with some of the world's best airlines, and with all the Fly Smiles privilege is effectively extended throughout that entire global network. It will make it easier for people from around the world, in particular from key business cities, to reach Sri Lanka, with all that means to the country's economy and its key tourism industry in particular. Although it will add just 2 destinations to the Oneworld map, including this marvelous new Hambantota Airport, it brings to Oneworld a very attractive network that complements those of the Alliance's current member airlines. Besides being the flag carrier for Sri Lanka, of course, it is one of the leading airlines serving southern India and the leading international airline serving the Maldives. In conclusion, let me just say again to Nishanta, Kapila, and all our Sri Lankan friends, it's great to be here in your home country to celebrate with you today. We're very, very pleased to welcome Sri Lanka to the Oneworld family. As you would say in this part of the world, Ayubawan. Now, formally to welcome you on board, it's my pleasure to hand over to Rupert Hogg, Chief Operating Officer of Cathay Pacific Airways, which has served as Sri Lankan's sponsor into Oneworld, supporting and mentoring it through its Alliance implementation program. Rupert.
Bruce, thank you very much for that. It really is a great pleasure for me, both personally and professionally, to be representing Cathay Pacific at this landmark event today. In my previous role in Cathay Pacific, I was part of the Oneworld team that carried out an analysis that led to the invitation being extended to Sri Lankan to join the Alliance, and I'm very glad that we did. And actually in an earlier role, I visited Sri Lanka many times, being involved in a company called James Finley, which has extensive tea and timber plantation interests here. I think I can genuinely claim to have planted a tree or two before today in Sri Lanka. On my frequent visits here, I really come to love this country and its people, and I would urge anyone that hasn't spent much time traveling here to travel. It really has an, I think, unrivaled range of attractions, scenery, beaches, wonderful cultures, wonderful people, and it's a very special place indeed. As we all know today, we welcome Sri Lankan on board Oneworld, and its addition has a special significance for our alliance, as it completes Oneworld's biggest membership expansion since the alliance was established 15 years ago. In fact, we believe it's also the biggest and fastest expansion of any global alliance to date. That story began 2 years ago when we welcomed Air Berlin, followed by Malaysia, followed by the new Iberia subsidiary, Iberia Express, and British Airways affiliate, Open Skies. And then during 2002, BMI, the former Star Alliance UK carrier, was also integrated into British Airways and transitioned into Oneworld at the same time. And this, of course, strengthened British Airways and Oneworld's presence at London Heathrow, Europe's leading hub and gateway to the world's #1 business city. And then in October last year, we were joined by Qatar Airways, one of the world's fastest growing and most highly rated carriers, and the only one of the Gulf carriers to have joined a global alliance. And then in that same month, our South American partner, LAN, brought into Oneworld the latest of its passenger airlines, LAN Colombia. By doing so, it joined established Oneworld members, LAN Airline itself of Chile, which has been a member of Oneworld since 2000, and its affiliates, LAN Argentina, LAN Ecuador, and LAN Peru. Exactly a month ago, their partner in LATAM Airlines Group, TAM, the largest airline in Latin America's biggest economy, Brazil, joined them too, consolidating into Oneworld all parts of Latin America's leading airline group, strengthening our long-time position as the leading alliance for that vast continent. And at the same time, we added US Airways as part of its merger with our fellow and founding partner, American Airlines. Actually, on its own, US Airways is one of the world's 10 largest airlines. With American, it has created the world's biggest airline. And their combination makes Oneworld the leading alliance in the USA, the world's #1 market for air travel demand. And today, most importantly really, we welcome on board Sri Lankan. And I don't know if you've been counting while I listed the Oneworld new recruits over the past few minutes, but in just 2 years, Oneworld has brought on board more than 15 airlines, either as full members or as affiliates. And this has significantly strengthened our position in many of the most important Asian aviation markets. To give you some statistics, They together have added more than 250 destinations to the Alliance map, expanding its network by more than a third to more than 1,000 airports in 150 plus countries. They've increased our daily flights by more than 6,000, a 76% increase, giving us now a total of more than 14,000 flights a day. Apparently that's an average of a takeoff or landing every 3 seconds around the globe. In terms of our customers, they brought on board another staggering 215 million customers a year, a 74% increase. And in terms of capacity, what we in the airline refer to as available seat kilometres, they've given us a 50% or 56% lift and added more than 1,000 aircraft to the combined fleet, taking us to a total of some 3,300. Turning to finance, they've grown our revenues by 40% to more than $140 billion a year. And as for revenues earned between the world's leading business city, the measure that we think is very important and Bruce referred to before, they've added 5 points to Oneworld's share of revenue, giving us a total today of 26% share. So a big expansion all round. But today really is about Sri Lankan. South Asia is one of the world's fastest growing regions for air travel demand. And Oneworld's strategy for this region is the same as it is for all other regions where we want to increase our alliance footprint and to identify the very best airline to match our exacting alliance requirements. We at Cathay Pacific could not be more pleased to serve as Sri Lanka's sponsor into Oneworld. Working with your team has underlined our certainty that we made exactly the right decision in inviting your airline to join us. They did a great job and they were doing many other things in parallel at the same time. So I'd like to congratulate and thank all of those involved, both at Sri Lankan, at Cathay Pacific, the central Oneworld team, and of course all our partner airlines as well. And with this project completed, it gives me great privilege, on behalf of all of my colleagues across the Alliance, formally to welcome you, Nishanta, Kapila, and all of your colleagues and customers to Oneworld. It's great to have you on board. Thank you.
We now invite Sri Lankan's chairman to deliver his address.
Rupert, Bruce, thank you for your comments. Honorable Dr. Sarath Amunugama, Senior Minister for International Monetary Cooperation and Deputy Minister for Finance and Planning, thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation to be the chief guest at this historic event. Honorable Mattala Rajapaksa, Member of Parliament for Hambantota District, thank you, sir, for being with us today and gracing this occasion. And thank you, all our colleagues from across the Oneworld who are here with us and joined us on the most important day for our airline and for our country. Thank you too. Big thank you to our media friends, our dear friends from the media who have traveled from all over the world for being with us today. Many of you have traveled long way to be here. Welcome you. Sri Lanka, like our country, has traveled a long way in a very short time. Under the leadership of His Excellency the President Mahinda Rajapaksa, our nation has achieved peace and political stability. With this has come a major economic development. A key element of this program is the establishment of Sri Lanka as a vibrant aviation hub with a vibrant aviation industry. This step our airline, SriLankan Airlines, is taking today is evidence of that strategy in action. So too is this airport, Mattala Rajapaksa International, South Asia's newest international gateway here at Hambantota. Sri Lankan is now part of Oneworld, the highest rated global alliance. This makes Sri Lanka establish international airport in Colombo a new hub for Oneworld. Since peace returned to our shores 5 years ago, our airline has doubled in size. Sri Lanka today operates 21 aircrafts, modern aircrafts, and we have now 10 more on order. These include 4 Airbus A350s, the first of which will be delivered to us later this year. Last year, ladies and gentlemen, we welcomed almost 5 million passengers on board our flights, carrying them to 32 destinations and 20 countries. We now serve in Asia, the Middle East, and in Europe.
Besides being Sri Lanka's flag carrier, we are also the largest international airline serving our neighboring Maldives. We have a leading presence too in South India with 67 frequencies a week. We work hard to position our airline as a quality carrier in line with Oneworld's overall philosophy. As Sri Lankan, we are focused on customer service, on gaining profitability and on supporting the vital Sri Lankan tourism industry, another key strategic industry central to His Excellency Mattala Rajapaksa's strategic vision for the nation. Tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka increased by 30% in 2013 compared to the previous year, and Sri Lanka is targeting 2.5 million tourists by 2016. More than 40% of these tourists come to Sri Lanka on board our national carrier, and we expect that to grow in line with the overall expansion. As you have heard, the world airline industry is increasingly focused on alliances. So joining Oneworld is a key milestone in our company's history. It will help put Sri Lanka more firmly on the global aviation map, and it will vastly improve our country's connections with the rest of the world, with all that means for our important tourism industry. It will also generate considerable additional revenue to us and help us to add more flights to our network. Today, as we join Oneworld, I can announce two of the key significant developments with our new partners in the alliance. We have a long-standing code-sharing agreement with Malaysian Airlines. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have concluded a code-share agreement with two more Oneworld members, Finnair and S7. And code-share talks are at an advanced stage with more Oneworld partners. This will make it even easier for our customers to reach more places. Readying ourselves to become part of Oneworld has represented one of the biggest projects in our history. It has involved working groups covering 20 streams of activity. My thanks to everyone involved. A great team effort by Sri Lankan, our sponsoring airline Cathay Pacific, and Oneworld. We are extremely proud to become part of the highest quality alliance with the best airline partners, offering a global network that best complements our own and the needs of our customers. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, our dear friends from the media, thank you for joining us today and for your warm welcome. Thank you.
Take off to a world of endless possibilities. SriLankan Airlines is proud to join Oneworld, the world's leading alliance of airlines.
Thank you, Chairman. And before we move into our Q&A session, we invite the Chairman, CEO Kapila Chandrasena, Bruce Ashby, and Rupert Hogg to sign a document to signify that Sri Lankan is now part of the Oneworld Alliance. So if I can invite our young ladies with the document to be signed to come to the stage. I think we may need to create a gap between our TV crews in the middle. Thank you, Joyce. Kapila please join the other three gentlemen, because I'm sure there are some people who would like to have some photographs at this moment. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies. And we're about to start the Q&A session. Can I ask if the camera guys in the middle of the room could please position themselves at the side of the hall so that we can see any media who would like to ask questions. So if you could please move your cameras to the side of the hall so that we can see any of the media who would like to ask questions of our top team guests. We may need some assistance in getting them to the side, please. So, usual rules for a Q&A. I'll ask anyone who wants to ask a question to raise their hand. We should have some roving microphones so that you can speak into that for the benefit of those listening by webcast. I'll ask you to start by giving your name and the organization that you represent, and then we'll field that to the appropriate gentleman or lady on the
Michael, can we interrupt you for a minute?
Fire away.
And that is for the purpose of the singular translation or an announcement in Sinhala to our media colleagues in the Sri Lankan language. Sorry for the interruption, and over to the Sinhala commentator.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ මාධ්‍ය විතුරන් සියලු දෙනා අතර සිටින ශාලාවේ මධ්‍ය සිටින සියලු දෙනාගෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා අපට මධ්‍යයෙන් මේ ආරාධිතයින් සඳහා පැමිණීමට ඉඩකඩ ලබා දෙමින් මදක් මෑත් වන්නට කියලා ඒ ඔබ කරන අප වෙනුවෙන් කරන විශේෂ අනුග්‍රහයක්. බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
Thank you, Marcella. Michael, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. So if we can just ask you guys to clear the space there. Meantime, if we have any questions, so we can see you, perhaps you can stand on your chair and wave a flag or something. And then we are ready to go. And I'm going to take the first question here from Luke Citrano, who has followed instructions and is clearly waving. Luke, can we get a microphone to the front, please, to Luke? Or Luke, come up here and speak into the microphone. That might be quicker and easier.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Over here.
Hello. This is for the Oneworld CEO. I would like to know whether, without a formal universal code share treaty to make it competition neutral, do you think Oneworld may find it difficult to navigate antitrust laws? I'm Giri Prakash from Hindu Business Line, Bangalore.
Yeah, well, no, to answer your question, no, I don't think there will be any issues about antitrust laws with respect to code share. Code share is a very sort of well-developed, business, the proposition that airlines use to jointly market their services. It has, kind of almost no relationship to antitrust or other things. They're routinely approved by governments all around the world and perceived as generally benefiting both customers and the airlines involved. When it comes to the things that antitrust regulators are concerned about, alliances were developed and have operated with a seal of approval from governments worldwide on not violating any of those kind of concerns. So we've never found that to be an issue, and I don't think we ever will going forward. If anything, there's more encouragement these days to form more businesses and joint businesses and approve more things. The regulations are loosening generally worldwide rather than tightening up.
Thank you. We'll take the next question here from the front as he's run all the way here in the heat. Luke.
Well, hello, and thank you to allow me to stay here and to ask my question. I feel closer to you now. Anyway, it's a question for Bruce. Congratulations for the chairman of SriLankan. Sorry, sir, I can't get your name, but it will come in a few weeks' time. I would like to know that since after SriLankan joining, do you think that there are still some gaps into your network and airlines? Where would you like to find further members, or do you think that you're pretty much complete now?
Right. So the question, are there gaps in our network? Really, when you look at where we are in the most important segment we're interested in, the top business city of the world, we actually don't have any gaps in our network, and we're operating quite strongly. Now, that's not to say that we won't continue, as we have for years, talking to other airlines around the world who are interested in joining our alliance. And if we find, as we did with Sri Lanka, a particularly high-quality airline that complements our network, that brings something to the table that's exciting for our customers and our members, I think we'd say we'd certainly consider it. But we don't have any announcements of new membership today or sort of big plans to suddenly go off and conquer space or anything like that. It'll be a quiet period for us, I believe.
Thank you, Bruce. So if, once again, I can ask you to wave, stand, hop. It's very difficult to see towards the back of the hall, so if there's anyone who wants to put a question to us down there, please wave a flag or a piece of paper. We have a question from the gentleman here and from the lady next to Luke. So I'll take you first, sir, and then the lady. And do we have microphones at the back of the hall, or do you want to come to the front to put your question? Can I ask you to come to the front and to put your question into the microphone so everyone can hear, please? And madam, we have a microphone here. Good. And the next question will be the lady just across the aisle from him.
I'm Sanjay Singh from the India Today Group, India. My question is for Mr. General Sena. Your operating margins have been quite low, means you're still operating in negative. So my question is that what's your expectation ahead? Because you had already got an inflation of $500 million. So any expectations ahead on this?
So, Kapila, I think the microphones should be switched on for you. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Yes, I think if you look at the last few years, it's anyway a challenging environment for all the airlines. It's not only for Sri Lankan, given our biggest cost is related to fuel. And what we have seen is last decade a significant increase. So that's the main reason for the lower margins. Certainly for the, if I'm to comment about last 3 years, we see a gradual decrease of the negative margins. So that's really a good sign. And of course, we are also modernizing our fleet, because one of the factors that can help us to manage our cost is operate more fuel efficient aircrafts. And part of this whole $500 million capital infusion is targeted towards that, to get more fuel efficient aircrafts. Certainly later this year, in October, we will be getting latest 3 Airbus 330-300s, which will replace the old 340s we are running. So 4 engine aircrafts, higher fuel burn. We are expecting something like 5 to 7% net operational saving on that. Then from 2016 onwards, we are expecting to get the latest next generation Airbus 350s. That would give us a significant contribution, positive contributions to our operating margins. On the other hand, what we see is Sri Lanka becoming a desirable leisure destination. We are seeing more and more tourists coming, so we are hopeful with that trend that we can gradually increase our yields. So combination of that, we'll see to it that we will bridge the negative gap, and we will come towards basically a loss neutral position. So that's the plan, and certainly we are on track of that.
Thank you. Okay, Neelam, I think you're next, but I'm just going to ask if anyone else wants to ask a question afterwards. We have a couple here. We'll take one from you. I don't know if there's anyone at the back of the room who asks a question. Maybe you can just come to the front half of the hall if you do. So we'll take Neelam and then the gentleman over here.
Neelam Matthews, AIN US. Sir, this is for Mr. Kapila. This is regarding the report that you have submitted to the government, your 5-year plan. What are the main features of that? And if I can quickly ask a quick one. And the 25% incremental revenue that you expect to get as a result of Oneworld, where would that be coming from? Isn't that an ambitious number?
Yes, I'll first comment on the 5-year plan. Certainly we are on the year 2, and what we have seen is that we are tracking the plan, except for a few areas, but more or less we are tracking as we planned. The area that we have seen a little bit of deviation is our projections of the jet fuel pricing. Certainly that has been a little higher than what we have projected, so that has somewhat a negative impact on our bottom line. But on the business plan, the main features are basically fleet expansion and modernization. That's the number one, because when we looked into the future, we saw a fairly significant increase of our scale of passengers coming this way. And if you look at the next 15 years, I think the biggest growth of the passenger travel will happen in Asia Pacific, and that's in our backyard. So we want to position our airline to exploit that opportunity. So that's one. Second is really keeping a control of our costs, and with the new aircrafts we will have more and more control of the cost. And the thirdly, most important, is the basically benchmarking our services to a global standard. And with the joining of the Oneworld, I think we are somewhat achieving that. We are benchmarking our services now to a global standard for the likes of all the members on the Oneworld. So combination of these factors will see to it that we are tracking the right revenues and managing our costs so that we can get a targeted bottom line. As to the contribution, we are expecting somewhere around $25 to $30 million to be contributed towards the alliance network, and somewhat similar amount to come to our airline too. So that's a good partnership, good balance, and certainly in the next coming months, years, we'll work on those partnerships with our alliance members to realize that. So that's the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Kapila. Now, if we've got a question down here, unless there's someone who waves very hard after you, I'm going to take this as the last question during this session, although most of our colleagues will be making themselves available. We have a question at the back, so we'll take you, then we'll take someone from the back, and that'll be our final question during this session.
I'm Sharan Puvana from the New Indian Express in India, and to Mr. Ashby, surprising to see that you don't have either an airline from China or from India, which is the largest, one of the largest aviation markets in the world. And are you looking at alliances there? And to Mr. Vikramasinghe, how is this going to improve tourism, let's say, from India and other Asia Pacific regions? Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go first. Yeah. So, well, of course we do have a Greater China airline, one of the best airlines in the world, Cathay Pacific, and its affiliate Dragonair, which is actually a Chinese airline. So we have a pretty deep access into that arena. And in India, as you may know, we have certainly had conversations with airlines in India about coming over to the alliance. And so far, we've not added a member from India. SriLankan, of course, is actually the first airline in the whole Indian subcontinent to join an alliance. So, in fact, there isn't any Indian airline that's currently has joined an alliance. We'd certainly look at it. As I said before, though, what we really care about at Oneworld is are we providing our customers with access to the best places, the top 100 global cities, with the top airlines. And if we find a match like that, we might go forward. And if we don't, then we will not. But we have no announcements for you today on it.
Thank you. Joining Oneworld really improves our connectivity, and the whole world. We have, to most destinations in the world, we have direct connectivity. So that will contribute towards our tourism, definitely. And I think the obvious thing that will happen is immediately we'll have a surge of people coming to Sri Lanka and beyond Sri Lanka, maybe to India, because with the connectivity, obviously, tourism is going to improve here, numbers are going to increase who are coming to Sri Lanka, and who are going beyond Sri Lanka also. So not only we, the other countries also, where we are flying to like India, they will definitely benefit from this. Thank you.
Hello, this is for SriLankan Airlines. India and Sri Lanka signed open sky agreement as far as SARC is concerned. At that time, SriLankan Airlines used to fly around 100 flights to India, but after the withdrawal of Emirates, the number of flights have fallen down. Can you please tell us what plans you have for India?
Really, the flights to India or any other country in the world depends on the demand and the supply. So this situation changes every year or monthly. So we look out the potential in each state, each country, and we evaluate. And then we decide whether to fly or not. Or your destination we fly to, if we find it not economical, we do, because we are in business, we are doing money-making business. So we go to another destination. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so unless anyone is waving, I'm going to take that as the final question during this session. There'll be an opportunity to speak to our lead delegates later on during the course of this event. So this does conclude this part of our event today. And as I said at the outset, Oneworld member airlines are rightly famous for the quality of their customer service, and that is, of course, offered by their employees. And we have a tradition at Oneworld of inviting them to welcome their new colleagues and customers to Oneworld. So I'm going to invite them to come and join us at the front of the stage. And when they have finished and when they have welcomed Sri Lankan on board, we then have a special surprise for you. So once again, have your cameras ready. Meantime, ladies, welcome back to the stage. And we will start in alphabetical order, and right in front of me, a much better view for all of you than you've been putting up with so far. We have from Air Berlin, cabin crew trainer Fatan Suleiman.
Good day and welcome on board. Guten Tag, wir freuen uns, dass Sie ab sofort gemeinsam mit uns fliegen.
From American Airlines, we have consumer marketing executive Nina Lida.
Hi, on behalf of all my American colleagues, it's great to welcome SriLankan Airlines to the world's best alliance.
British Airways purser Julie Hick.
Good morning. We started flying back to Colombo once again last year, so it's wonderful that we're strengthening our ties with your country even further today. Welcome.
Finnair cabin crew member Auti Merila.
Hyvää päivää. A warm welcome from Finnair to Sri Lanka to the Alliance. Tervetuloa maailman parhaaseen lentoyhtiö-allianssiin.
And representing Iberia, Marisa Robbins.
Hola y bienvenidos a bordo.
Japan Airlines flight attendant Naomi Ekibushi.
It is my honor on behalf of everyone to jump to wish Sri Lankan konnichiwa yokoso.
All the way from Chile, South America, land cabin crew manager Vanessa Tronni.
En nombre de LAN y de todo corazón, bienvenidos.
And from Malaysia Airlines, flight attendant Christelle Eve.
Malaysia Airlines is Sri Lanka's nearest Oneworld neighbor, and we have a long history of cooperation. So we are especially pleased to welcome Sri Lankan to our Oneworld family. From your friends at Malaysia Airlines, welcome, selamat datang. Thank you.
from Australia's Qantas, flight attendant Courtney Bennington.
On behalf of Qantas, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our newest Oneworld member, SriLankan Airlines.
Now, originally from this island, but now working as a cabin crew member with Qatar Airways, Seloni Fernando.
Marhaba. It is with great pleasure we at Qatar Airways welcome SriLankan Airlines on board Oneworld. Mabruk Sri Lankan.
And Royal Jordanian flight attendant Amil Betts.
Royal Jordanian would love to welcome you on board. أهلا وسهلا فيكم وإن شاء الله بالتوفيق. Sri Lankan, Ayabowan.
From Russia's S7 Airlines, flight attendant Alina Lukyanchikova.
From all of us at S7 Airlines, добро пожаловать, мы рады вас приветствовать.
And all the way from Brazil, TAM Flight Airlines flight attendant Clarissa Silva.
Em nome da TAM, seja muito bem-vinda, Sri Lanka.
And from Sri Lankan's sponsor airline into Oneworld, Cathay Pacific, flight attendant Joyce Lau.
Neho, it has been a real pleasure for all of us at Cathay Pacific to support SriLankan Airlines on its flight into Oneworld.
And finally, from Sri Lankan Airlines, cabin service supervisor Michelle Fernando.
උදාවී ඇති මේ අභිමානවත් සාරම්භක දිනයේදී Oneworld සන්ධානය සමග ශ්‍රී ලංකන් ගුවන් සමාගම ඇති කරගන්නා වූ මේ නව සමිතියව සැමරීමට මෙහි පැමිණ සිටින ඔබ සැම ශ්‍රී ලංකන් ගුවන් සමාගම වෙනුවෙන් ඉතා සාදරයෙන් සහ ගෞරවාදරයෙන් පිළිගනිමු. ඔබ සැම තම රට බලා නැවත ප්‍රයාසල් කිරීමට ප්‍රථමයෙන් මෙම සුන්දර දිවයිනේ චමත්කාරය සහ එහි වෙසෙන ජනතාවගේ ආගන්තුක සත්කාරය අත්විඳීමට ඔබට හැකි වනු ඇතැයි මම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමි. அன்பர்களே, Oneworld மற்றும் SriLankan Airlines இணைவரையும் அன்புடன் வரவேற்கின்றோம். நன்றி. We are glad that this day has arrived and we are excited. On behalf of Sri Lankan, thank you for sharing this wonderful day with us, and we are glad that you spent your days with us here in our island home. I wish you all will have the opportunity to discover our island and our people before you fly back home. Ayabowan.
So, Michelle, I think your chairman is itching to get his hands on that Oneworld logo.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we would like you to kindly remain at your seats. Please remain at your seats. What will now happen is the drummers will be conducting everyone at the top table, the head table, outside. So until everyone at the top table is conducted outside, please remain at your seats. The drummers will be accompanying our delegates at the top table. Gentlemen, can you please follow the drummers? Please follow the drummers. The drummers will be accompanying you to a very special area, and the others, you can just remain for a while. And after the top table delegates move out, you can follow them to a very special area. We're getting ready for something spectacular, which is going to happen outside. So please remain at your seats until the head table delegates move out together with the drummers. spectacular display of Sri Lankan drums and dancers as we escort all of you to this very special area where you can see one of the SriLankan Airlines aircraft, and yes, very fittingly labeled Oneworld, the latest member joining the Oneworld Alliance, SriLankan Airlines, the pride of Sri Lanka, the award-winning national carrier of Sri Lanka, the latest member added to the Oneworld Alliance. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in a few moments, you will see the Oneworld logo unveiled, and that will be in the presence of our chief guest, the Honorable Dr. Sarath Amunagama, Senior Minister of International Monetary Cooperation and the Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning, and also in the presence of our guest of honor, the Honorable Attorney at Law Mattala Rajapaksa, Member of Parliament, and all the other visiting Oneworld delegates, and all you invited guests this morning and afternoon. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. The launch of the Oneworld logo is about to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready at the second international airport in Sri Lanka, the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. The launch, the ceremonial launch of the Oneworld logo, and SriLankan Airlines becoming the 15th member of the Oneworld Alliance. What a great celebration here at the tarmac of the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport, in the company of lots of school children of the Hammattala Education. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. What a great day. What a great day of celebration. What a great morning and what a great afternoon. And what a great event that we need to celebrate. So, well, we started off with UL 4003 carrying you, our chief guest, the guest of honor, and also the Oneworld delegates and the other distinguished invitees touching down at the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport in the morning, and then you had your refreshments, then to the tree planting ceremony, the ritual that was performed, and you came along the driveway that takes you to the arrival and departures, and through the inner courtyard with lots of drummers, dancers, bringing out the true Sri Lankan culture, a rich cultural heritage that we have to portray in a couple of minutes. And then we had the press conference, ladies and gentlemen, and a couple of formalities with regard to the launch of Oneworld. And finally, we had our chief guest and the guest of honor unveiling the Oneworld logo. Expressing our grateful thanks to you, sir, for gracing this occasion as chief guest. With your very, very hectic and busy schedule, we would like to take this opportunity now in very warmly welcoming you and inviting you on stage for your address. So, ladies and gentlemen, could you please put your hands together for our chief guest, the Honorable Dr. Sarath Amunagama, Senior Minister for International Monetary Cooperation and Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning of Sri Lanka.
The Chairman and the Board of Directors of SriLankan Airlines, the distinguished head of Oneworld organization and other members of the staff, and all those representatives of the airlines that are associated with the Oneworld project. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the greetings of His Excellency the President, Honorable Mattala Rajapaksa. As you know, he was to have been the chief guest at this ceremony because SriLankan Airlines is very close to his heart. But he is out on a state visit to Bahrain, and he wanted me to speak to you and to tell you how much he appreciates today's event. He wants me to thank all those who were instrumental in creating this happy occasion. He also wants to thank the chairman and the staff of SriLankan Airlines, because today is a very significant day, not only for SriLankan Airlines, but also for our country. As you know, Sri Lanka is now one of the fastest developing economies in the world. Only the other day, COFAS, which is a French insurance company and a rating agency, has identified Sri Lanka as one of the 5 emerging and leading growth economies in the world. The other countries are Indonesia, Peru, Vietnam, and Cambodia. So while the BRICS countries, which are of course in a much higher league, have been faltering in their growth statistics, Sri Lanka and the other countries that I mentioned have been recording very high growth figures. We have, for the last 8 years, recorded an average growth of 7 to 8%. 8 years ago, we had a per capita income of $800. Today, it is $3,400. And it is His Excellency's wish that in another 3 to 4 years, we would reach the $5,000 per capita. It is a target well within our reach. For that, we have to innovate. For that, we have to take new decisions. And for that, we have to join the world. We want to make Sri Lanka a hub because of our geographical position. Just a few kilometers from here is the Hambantota Airport. the Hambantota Port. You may not believe it when I say that absolutely 2/3 of the world's shipping, because of the oil lanes, are going past this Hambantota port. Absolutely 2/3 of the oil, the lanes that take oil to China, to Japan, to Singapore, to the Far East, they all go within a few kilometers of this place. We have just emerged from a cruel terrorist war which held this country hostage for about 30 years. And we are happy to say that Sri Lanka is one country in the whole wide world which has decisively defeated terrorism, which has completely eliminated terrorism in this country, and today Sri Lanka is one of the safest and one of the most beautiful countries in this region. Because after 30 years of war, we have to catch up, and we have to catch up fast. For that, we have invested a large amount of money on infrastructure. Today you came by air, but we hope that you will spend a few more days and travel here to south in our new highways. We have this new airport, we have a new port, we have new power plants. Sri Lanka is the only country in South Asia which can guarantee an electrical or power supply 24/7. No other country in this region can guarantee a continuous power supply. So we have very many factors in our favor. Connectivity is vital for a country like Sri Lanka, given our geographical position, the size of our population, and also the very large attractions that we have on offer. So we want to make Sri Lanka a hub, and particularly an aviation hub. As the chairman mentioned, we have many flights to India and to the region. We have the largest number of flights to the Maldives. And two important areas of growth in Sri Lanka are tourism and foreign employment. Both necessitate a strong airline, and an airline which is linked to the world through this One World program. Last year we had 1.2 million tourists. In 2 years we want to make it 2.5 million tourists. We are well on track to that. Large number of hotels are being built. Infrastructure is being built. And the other element in the jigsaw puzzle is today coming into place, and that is aviation links. So we are very grateful to each and every one of you, because you will help us to reach another level in our aviation activity. That is very necessary. We are getting new aircraft. Our management is on a sound footing, and today with your kind cooperation, we will acquire a much higher profile, which will help us to achieve our targets, and also, of course, to add to greater connectivity in our region, which is important not only in an economic sense, but also politically and socially. That is why I think the chairman quite rightly and quite wisely decided to have this ceremony here in Mattala. You can see the beauty of the place. Just a few kilometers from here is the sea and our brand new Hambantota port. So we are moving very fast. We are a growing economy. And lastly, I want to say that global recovery and global growth today is led by Asia, by China, by India, by new, what are called third-tier countries like ours and our region are pushing global growth in an age when the traditional drivers of global growth are having difficulties. They are recovering, of course. We see the green shoots of recovery, but Sri Lanka and Asia is very, very important destinations. So with this, we move to a new age. Asia is growing into a middle class. A new middle class emerging out of China, out of India, out of the other Asian countries will fuel tourism and aviation. We have to be ready for that. And your cooperation, every one of those airlines which are represented today, who are linking hands with us, are our partners. We are grateful to you, and we deeply appreciate your presence here today. So I like to end up again by quoting our president, who wanted me to say that he wants to thank each and every one of our visitors, each and every member of the media who is participating in this very vital event, which marks a very significant step in our growth of aviation and thereby the growth of the country and the economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for those great words of encouragement. Dr. Sarath Amunugama, the Honorable Dr. Sarath Amunugama, Senior Minister for International Monetary Cooperation and Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning, our chief guest. Thank you very much. With that, we come to the end of the proceedings. I believe you're hungry. Is that right? Yes, we can see many heads going like that. So I guess the answer is yes. So ladies and gentlemen, all One World delegates and also the ladies and gentlemen seated at the first two rows, just to bring to your kind notice that the chairman of SriLankan Airlines, Mr. Nishant Wickramasinghe, will accompany you outside. You'll be going outside and yes, you'll be turning right. So just follow the chairman, and the others, you'll also be exiting from the same exit, but you'll be turning left. So the ladies and gentlemen accompanying the chairman will be going out and turning right, and the others will be going out and turning left. And that's for your lunch, which is upstairs. So enjoy your lunch, bon appetit, and wish you a fabulous day ahead. Aiboan, thank you very much.
Take off to a world of endless possibilities. SriLankan Airlines is proud to join Oneworld, the world's leading alliance of airlines.